Hello, hello. Oh, let me get my mic on. There we go. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, morning, wherever you are, depending on where you are, right? Um, welcome to today's quick craft with Royce. And we have one more day of clipboards, you guys, but today is going to be a little bit different um, than other days. Okay, so if you are new here, I always have to remember to do an introduction. My name is, did I forget? Oh, no, yeah. My name is Royce Hunt Bell, and I'm the founder, owner, and operator of Roycycled Treasures. And here at Roycycled Treasures, we encourage people to create for their hearts, for their homes, or even for their businesses by providing quality craft supplies, instruction, inspiration, and encouragement. So, welcome, welcome. We are in the middle of doing daily lives every day in the month of January to kickstart our creativity for 2026. And so today is day number 9, I believe. I didn't really do it on the first because I decided to do it last minute. So we're doing, it's supposed to be quick crafts every day, but that's not quite what's happening. But we're doing complete crafts. So we're doing a project from start to finish every day. And today we're going to be working with clipboards. So, we are going to do a mixed media project though on our clipboards. Sorry, my lips are dry this morning. And so I have a bunch of stuff out because I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of things before we got started. Um, I did want to look at yesterday's clipboard because I felt like I still had it tied. I put this little piece of paper here so my clip wouldn't get like stuck to the board while it was drying. And now that it's completely dry, I feel like it's safe. So this was yesterday's clipboard, and you guys can see how you can see that green coming through the paper. And so we did some crackle. The crackle isn't as obvious. I probably should have gone in with like some dark paste or something if I wanted that crackle to be more obvious. But when you look at it in person, you can see it. And then we also did transfers over the top of the decoupage paper. We waxed everything when we were done, and then we used some milk paint to make our clip look old and chippy. And so I love this one. You guys, tomorrow for tomorrow's quick craft, I'm going to circle back to all the crafts that we've done this week, and I'm going to do all the little finishing things that, and it for any of you that go live, you know what I mean. Like for instance, the back of this clip is still really shiny, right? So I need to go in and finish this paint finish. And I kind of like the decoupage the back of this too, and not just leave the front. This was the other clipboard that we did the day before. We did a grunge halo underneath the paper. We talked a lot about underpainting with these two projects, and we decoupaged it, and then we used milk paint and dark wax to make our clamp look nice and chippy. And again, I have this piece back here that's not done, right? And this one, I feel like we want to decoupage the back of this one as well. So I have like these finishings, the cans, two of the cans, I still need to trim the bottom. Um, and I believe there are some finishings on the other ones as well. So as we finish off the projects, I'll actually be reading comments and we'll do like a Q&A while I'm finishing the project. So if you guys want to join tomorrow, that's what we'll be doing. But today we are going to be doing some mixed media on our clipboard. And I have a few things pulled out. I know that I want to use the paintable floral decoupage paper. If you're new, recycled decoupage paper is not like napkins at all. And it's kind of like the tissue that you put in your gift bags, but it's heavier. So it is beautiful to decoupage with. The sheets come in 21 by 21 inch sheets. And you can see how large that is. So you get a lot. You get a big bang for your buck as far as the amount of projects that you can do. This is the paintable floral, which is paintable because you can put any transparent color over this and it's going to be beautiful because all of the shading is already done. And this is in a pattern. So you can use this as is on a piece of furniture if you want it, but if the furniture was larger than the sheet, you could piece them together because there is a repeat. So we'll be using this today for a smaller project though. So we'll probably only just use one of the flowers on here. I did pull out, this was the stencil that I made for the Roycycled Bessie's retreat last year. And it was specifically for the project that we were doing during the retreat. And so this one isn't available because it was only available to those who were at the retreat. But I do want to use that today because it has some elements on it that I want to use. And after the retreat, everyone had their own gel plates. And y'all, it was a mess because I mean, there was paint on all the gel plates. And so one of the cool ways to clean your gel plate is that you can use packing tape to pull the paint off. And I saved all that packing tape. And so I may use a piece of this on today's project because we are going to be doing mixed media. I also have the Roycycled farm ledger stencil pulled out to add some typography to our project. And I have like a random stencil that I'm probably not going to use, but I had it there. And then I went ahead and primed and painted clipboard in preparation for today for time's sake. My clip, I'm not going to paint this one because look, it's not all nice and shiny. It actually already has a patina on that. So I'm not going to need to paint the clip today. So we're going to leave that. And we're really going to focus on the mixed media part of this project. So I tried to get us to a place where we could get through the whole thing in a decent amount of time and be able to finish completely. I wanted to talk a second about the paper. I pulled out a couple of pieces of paper. We have the Paintable Floral. I also pulled out the photography master board, and this one was really inspired by junk journaling. And it has like, these are like the checkout cards that you sign out in the library when you're going to sign out a book. And there are paint swatches on here and old vintage photographs on here. And I'm probably going to use something from this paper. So I pulled this out. But I wanted to talk to you guys about master boards because I feel like if you're new and you hear me saying master board, that you may not quite know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about it. One of the most popular types of decoupage paper that Roycycled has are my master boards. And the reason is because you have so many elements on one sheet of paper. Oops, there's a piece cut out of that one. I didn't realize that one. So like this one is the pressed floral master board. And you can see how you have all these different elements. And they're laid out in a way that if I had a project this big, I could use this and it would still make sense. But if I only wanted to use this piece, that would still make sense. Or if I just wanted to cut out these butterflies, that would make sense. So the master board gives you options when you're creating because there's so many elements. And it's always interesting when I show the paper online because there's a lot that you can't really see online. Like if you've ever bought paper before, and those of you who are in the comments, you can like leave comments about this if this is your experience. You see the paper online and it's beautiful, but then you get it and there's like extra elements in there that you didn't even see looking at it online because they're subtle and they're in the background. So this is a pressed floral master board. I was really inspired by junk journalists and collage artists because what they'll do is they'll make like a master sheet or a master board with like specific colors and repeating elements, and then they'll go and they'll cut exactly the part that they need depending on what project they're going to use. And so I was inspired by that idea and I started making masterboard papers. You guys, this one has been through some things. I've already cut some stuff off of it, but I didn't have a whole sheet. This is like the industrial masterboard decoupage paper. So you can see there are a bunch of typography and industrial elements on this one. So if this is your aesthetic, you know, you could use the whole board, the whole masterboard on something, which I've seen people do, or you could go in and you could cut out pieces to make smaller projects. This one is, this is the butterfly masterboard. This one is super popular. And I'm going to show it half and half because I can't really get the whole thing in the frame right. And so you guys can see You have topography and floral and script and stamps and all these different elements. I even have like pieces of tape on there, taping things together. There's a wax seal on there. You know, there's a stamp from like the post office on there. But you have all these elements on each sheet, and they just create so many different opportunities for you guys to be able to create. And this is last year's Spring Bird, I believe was the name of this masterboard. And again, you have flowers and you have birds, labels and topography. And you see that there's a damask behind the sheep right here, and just all the different things. And these masterboards are a repeat as well. So if you're working on a larger project and you want to cover the whole, you know, table, say a tabletop, you can piece these masterboards together, and they do repeat. This one was the Fall Bird, I believe was the name of it, or Fall Flock. It was also a masterboard, and you can see all the different elements that you get. And this one is interesting because I created this one, but I have a feeling that it's going to be popular past fall just because it's not super specific. The colors are definitely fall, but they don't have to be. And for my makers, you guys can get this, of course, because you guys are probably already looking at what you're going to do for the fall. And so this one is from last season, but that was a masterboard. And then this one is retired, but I do know, oh no, this is a project block. This isn't the masterboard, I don't think. And this was my barn masterboard. I do believe it was a masterboard. I just put one block. This was kind of a hybrid, right? It's part masterboard, and then I have one big project block on here. But it's kind of animals and barnyard themes that are on this. So if you have like farmhouse decor or country decor, this would be a sheet that would be super fun to create with. So I just wanted to go over like what the masterboards were, and just they're super versatile because you can make so many things from one masterboard. So for today's project, though, we're going to be doing we're going to be doing a mixed media piece, something that you would normally do like in your art journal, but we're going to do it on our clipboard. And if you're new to my quick crafts, just know that I'm not reading the comments because I really want to stay focused so I can get through the project in the time that we have together. But if you're on Facebook, I'm able to go back and see the comments. If you're on YouTube and you have like a burning question, pop into my community section and drop a comment there. And you'll find a place where you can like put a comment and you can leave a question there so I can answer you. And Instagram, I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer your questions because everything disappears on Instagram once the live is over. But I brought out one of my journals. I kind of wanted to show you guys something. This is something that we did in the membership. This is with the Roycycled wallpaper decoupage paper and some texture. But because there's this misunderstanding about what creativity looks like, I think. A lot of people watch us creatives and content creators show up and we make these beautiful projects, right? And they usually work out. And you guys are thinking, oh, like we must have some magic sauce because our projects work out. No, there's no magic sauce. All there is experience, honest to God. So I wanted to pull this out to kind of show you guys some pages in here. This was an experiment that I did. I don't know. I was messing around. I'm not sure what I was doing. But this is what my art journals are for. They're for experimenting. And sometimes experiments work. Sometimes you never get to even finishing them. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they don't. Right here, it's funny looking at this and how far I've come in my sketching, because this was the beginning, right? And we all have to start somewhere. And you're not going to move forward in whatever it is you want to learn how to do unless you start doing it, right? I think this was just some scrap tissue paper and I was making a background for something. But these are the pages that I really wanted to show you guys. These are pages that I made using just Roycycled decoupage paper. This is the topography love on the back. which is a whole sheet of typography. And I made them in to scale, right? So each one is to scale of what it would be. So it makes it super easy to use in your journals. But much like the other master boards, you can use the whole paper if you want to, or larger pieces as well. The paintable floral, this is a piece out of the photography master board. This is another one that I made. She's out of the photography master board. And same thing, the typography love is on the back, and the paintable floral is on the front on this one. And you can see how the paint swatches are really fun to incorporate. This was an experiment that did not go as planned. I painted the back of my paper white, and then I forgot, oh, criminies, it's going to go over this paper. So I have white all around because I didn't take my time to kind of fussy cut that. And I could go in and match this background and paint that out, but that wasn't part of my experiment, so I didn't do that. So it wasn't a failed experiment. I just didn't get the response that I wanted. And pink is such a freaking hard color to paint with. And so I was playing around trying to figure out how I would approach painting this flower pink. And you guys can see, like, it was not successful, right? So I want you guys to know that we mess up a lot. And it's just a matter of trying some things and experimenting and seeing what happens. This was fun. Oh yeah, this was me messing around with pink as well. Because my thing with pink is that I love working with transparent colors, but with pink, you have to add white to the red. And I found a transparent pink, but it's really dark. And so anyways, I think I ended up using like a mixing white or a transparent white with my transparent pink to be able to get this color, which was closer to what I wanted, but still wasn't what I saw in my head. Again, this was an experiment that didn't go exactly the way I had planned. I went in with my black here with the opaque, and I didn't care for the outcome. It's not horrible. I could probably go in and add some highlights and fix it, but it wasn't what I was planning in my head. This is just me. I do warm up. Sometimes when I sit down to create, I'm still in my left brain, or I'm still in my analytical like personality. Maybe I was doing books for my business or doing something in the community. And when I sit down create, I'm not in the right space, but I need to get stuff done. These are just exercises that I do to help me get in the right headspace before I start. So those are just, you look at the object and you try to draw it without looking. Mine never comes out right, but they're just exercises that I do to get myself in the right frame of mind to get creative. This one I did upside down. This was from my the class I'm taking. They had us draw Audrey Hepburn upside down so that you're only literally looking at the shapes. I could not believe this was really early on that I was able to do that. Pretty awesome. This is my favorite spread in this book, this particular art journal. And but you guys see, I painted like several right before I got to this spread. And I was really happy with the way that this one turned out. But you guys saw that not all of them turn out beautifully, right? And I wanted to show you guys too. These are just books. This is a book. I've gessoed these pages. Oh, this one was with colored pencil. I was able to go in. So instead of paint, I just used colored pencils with this one. That was a sketch from one of my classes. Again, one of my right brain exercises. I think I was drawing a piece of crumpled up paper or something. Me trying to draw hands. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at those fingers. Hands are so hard. So hard. I got to work on those because those are scary. Me, working on a face. This was early on. I feel like my skills have gotten a lot better since then. This is just a charcoal drawing of me just practicing. Like everything is practice and in the doing, not in the watching the videos, which is fine, but your hands got to get busy in order for your mind and your heart to make the connection so that you can grow creatively. This is just the pages of the book. I gesso them, and this is how I start. And you guys can see that this is just a regular thrifted book, and I just gesso the pages, and I do put paper in between. You guys can see these little spots is where the pages were touching. And then when I opened it, I tore them. So I like to put little sheets of tissue in between because I work primarily with acrylics, and it's kind of plastic and they don't dry thoroughly right away. So when you close them up in the book, you know, they can get stuck together. And this is just a cover. And this one was the pressed flowers master board. And I just used it to cover my book. So this is one of my art journals. And so I encourage you guys to create somewhere that isn't precious for you so that you can experiment without any expectation, and you can just have fun, because it's in those spaces that we learn and we grow creatively. So for today's project, I'm going to start off with some stamps and some stencils, but maybe I'll just do stencils this time. I did stamps last time, but we don't have to do the same thing that we did on our last one. So I am going to go in, and I have Highland Farms is on the top, and I have like some, you know, writing here on the bottom. And I do have, I brought out a brush. Oh Lord, what did I do with that? I know I went in the house specifically to get it. Do you guys see a round brush on my table? Oh, here it is. So I have a round brush here, and this is this is just, you know, I always encourage you guys to have some round and oval brushes in your stashes because they really do they're helpful. And I'm going to take this one though, and I'm going to make me a giant stencil brush by just wrapping some tape around this and tightening up those bristles. And you can use a rubber band, you know, whatever you have. But what this does is tighten up the bristles so that this acts just like a stencil brush, only it's bigger, right? So I have a bigger stencil here, and I have bigger round brushes or oval brushes. So if I'm like doing a stencil on a piece of furniture, I'm going to take my big brush and I'm going to do the same thing so that I don't have to be trying to stencil with a tiny stencil brush. And this is cool because this brush is a stencil brush, but then when I take the tape off, it's a regular brush that I can use to paint with. And I think I'm going to use ink because this is going to be in the background of my piece. And I'm going to use a stone gray ink. So I don't want this to be really, really dark. I want it to be in the background. And so when I am creating my mixed media piece, I always think in terms of my background, my midground, and my foreground, right? So I like to start in the background. The things in the background are generally going to be lighter. They're going to be, almost like you say, they're not going to be bright. They're going to be more neutralized. So they're going to be lighter. I'm going to use more neutral colors in the background. And these are general rules, and this is just how I do it. It's not how you have to do it, certainly. I think I'm going to put the whole Highland Farm there. We'll just put the whole stencil. And this is going to be our background. And I like to, so stenciling, getting a clean stencil is, you guys see that I'm tapping. To me, that's the easiest way to get a clean stencil. It's just to tap. And then once you offload most of your product off of your brush, then you can go in and swirl. But if you start swirling too soon, you end up pushing product underneath your stencil, which is no bueno. So and this stencil was actually one of my testers. It's not one of the ones that actually made it to market. So there are the ones that made it to market are better. But I still use these because I'm cheap and I hate to throw stuff away. When I asked my stencil maker to cut the stencil, y'all, to say that I got a side eye is such an understatement. I think she cussed me out under her breath is what I think happened. But we got it made and I love it. And I don't think I need all of it. I mean, I want there to be a sense that it is a ledger page underneath here, but I don't necessarily need to have like every single element. And some of them are going to be lighter and some of them are going to be darker, but I love that, especially when we're talking about a background. Okay, I think that's good. So I didn't get like every single bit of it, but I'm okay with that. You know, I have enough topography there to make a nice background. And you guys see what I mean? This color is dark, but it's not black. So it's not super sharp. And I did find my zip tie. So I'm using a zip tie to hold my clamp open, but this little piece is getting in the way. So we're going to cut that off. And I'm going to heat this ink up. And so I see in the groups, like in the Facebook groups, a lot of people talking about not being able to get their ink to dry, but I've never had that problem. So for me, I understand that it's not just a matter of the ink drying, it actually needs to set or to cure. So I'm going to use my heat gun. This is actually an embossing gun. And I'm going to use it not just to dry my ink, but I'm actually going to use the heat from this embossing gun in order to cure my ink so that when we go back over with our other elements, that it doesn't smear. Smear. And while I'm working on this, you guys, I'm going to show a video. It's just like, it's less than 50 minutes. If you take a few minutes to watch it. And then after it goes, plays, I'm going to give you guys some additional information about this opportunity.
If you've been craving time just for you, time to create, to breathe, to reconnect with who you are, I want to personally invite you to the 2026 Roycycled Besties Retreat. We're gathering in beautiful downtown Safford, Arizona for 3 days of creativity, connection, and rest. All your creative supplies are provided, breakfast and lunch are taken care of, and you'll even receive exclusive recycled retreat only goodies. We are already over halfway full, so if your heart's been whispering maybe, this is your moment to say yes. Click the link to claim your seat. I would love to meet you here.
And that's the Roycycled Besties Retreat. It's coming up the last weekend in April. You guys, I am so excited to host everyone here. And honestly, God, it's not me that's just excited. I went into the soap shop. We have a local soap shop. They have there is a family that owns goats and they actually make the goat milk and then the soap shop buys the goat milk from the kids, basically, who are milking the goats, and they make the most fabulous products. But David and I went in there to buy gifts over the holidays, and the ladies are already talking about being excited about seeing you guys. For those of you who came last year, about seeing you guys again. And we were walking down Main Street on Small Business Saturday, and we stepped into the antique shop. I know a couple of you ladies went to that shop when you guys were there, and Susan is already talking about hosting you guys, and she's going to have a coupon ready for you guys when you get here. So when you come to our retreat, yes, I'm hosting you here at the retreat, but really it's my whole community that's hosting you when you get here. And it's a beautiful time. You get to collaborate and be in communion with other women who are creative and excited to be in a creative space. There's good food. All the supplies are provided, and we have a ton of supplies for you to create with. We are doing experiments. So we're not just sitting at a table listening to people talk all day. Like that's not what we're doing. Jane Volante is going to be there. So she will be helping us to get our minds in the right place, to be open to creating and to kind of functioning and operating outside of our comfort zones creatively. Um, Last year, the transformations that I saw were just absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And the bravery of the women who came was inspiring. And so if you are looking for a place where you can have a creative spark, where you can reconnect with other um, like-minded ladies, but also for you to reconnect with yourself. This is a really good opportunity for you to do that. So if you're on Facebook, you can put hashtag retreat and you'll get a message with information about the retreat. If you are on YouTube, I will put a post in the community with a link so you guys can go in my communities tab on YouTube and Instagram. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm just new to Instagram. I have to figure it all out. I apologize. But that feels like it's warm enough. I don't think that ink is going to move. And to speed things up a little bit, let's use paint for the next thing. I just want to put a little bit of stuff in the background so that, I don't know, we have some interest back there. And this is an ochre yellow and it's transparent. It's one of my favorite colors. I like it a lot. And so I'm just going to go in and we're going to add some of these dots right here. And you guys see I'm offloading like most of my paint. I know those of you who are watching the vertical, if you're on YouTube and you would rather watch the regular orientation, it's streaming twice. So you don't have to watch the vertical one. If you prefer, you can watch the landscape version on YouTube. You just have to pop out and go find it on my channel. So I'm going to put a little bit. And whenever I'm creating, I'm always thinking about balance. So if I do something on one side, I'm probably going to do it on the other side. Like to me, that's the easiest way to maintain balance when I'm creating. And I have these little marks here. Let's put them like right here. And you guys see I'm not using all of them, just some of them. And I'm going to put these right here. And I'm not going to use the florals because I have something else planned for that. I do like the idea of these birds though. And I want them to be dark. So I'll mix a little bit of Payne's gray with my yellow. Oh, I forget how transparent that Payne's gray is, but this will be a little bit darker. I don't want it to be black though, right? Because this is still stuff in my background. So I want it to be in the background. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick dry over this really quickly. And then we will move on to, I think I'm going to put the tape in the midground. And then we'll go in with the paper and get that on. What time is it? It's 12:36. I don't know how time goes by so fast, y'all. I'm not sure how that happens. If you're just hopping on, we are meeting for our daily crafting. I'll be here daily in the month of January at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Crafting, I'm the same quick crafts, but they haven't been quick. But we will complete something from start to finish. That we will do. So now I want to move into, so this is all of like my background elements. Now I want to move like more into my midground. And so I'm going to start picking things that are like maybe darker. It seems like I'm unintentionally picking like a color scheme here. And this piece of tape right here matches. So we're going to use this. But I don't want to use it just as it is. And then if you're new, like these were gel plates that were left over from last year's retreat because everyone had their own gel plate to work with. And so you can imagine 50 ladies with their own gel plates. That was a lot of gel plates to clean. And tape is a really quick way to pull paint off of those. And I'm just snipping this tape because I'm kind of want to get it's not going to do it, is it? I want to like something organic. I don't want it to be super square, but I'm not going to get that. Am I? Oh, maybe that's closer. So let's go ahead. I have a hair. We don't want that. Let's take that off. I should have brought out my weird scissors. Let's put a piece. Whoops. We'll put a piece right here. And it's shiny right now, but we're going to go over that with some matte um, medium so it won't be shiny. And because I put that on that side, I'm going to put this little piece here over on this side. And when I'm working on pieces like this, um, there's no guarantee that you're even going to be able to see any of the stuff I'm doing. And I have to be okay with that, right? Like each layer is a new set of decisions. Um, and they're kind of, you're looking at your background because you want to have a, like consistency, but at the same time, you have to be willing to let go of the background sometimes. So I'm just going to have room for one flower. Like I already know that. And I love this big one. This big one is my favorite. This one right here. This one is off edge, which kind of works because I can just have it be off edge on the, you know, yeah, I think that's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I am going to do I'm going to cut all of this out. I'm going to do a quick trim, and then I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to go about um, prepping this piece for it to be decoupage because I don't want to cut it out. I couldn't cut it out. So it's not that you can't fussy cut your elements out. You absolutely can. Just know that if you have a sharp edge, it's going to be easy to detect it, right, on your project. And I'm really wanting this to blend in a little bit. So I'm going to be, I'm just going to cut through that leaf right there. So I am going to create an organic edge that's going to blend in a lot better. And because this is a large piece of paper, so I'll show you guys, these are your options for how you can address, how you can not address this, but how you can approach this. I can absolutely take a super skinny brush and I can make a line right around the surface of this flower. Here, we'll go up to here. And then I can go in and tear it. And it's going to tear right where that water is, which gives me a lot of control over, how I cut that paper out right there. And I can do that, absolutely. But I am not patient. So I am going to go in with my brush and just wet this whole area. And then I'm just going to snatch it out. Like instead of, and either, whichever way, I think it's a personality thing. It's going to determine which way is your preference. And there's neither is wrong or right or better or worse. They're just different because the end result is going to be the same. I'm going to end up with a nice organic edge to my paper, right? Which is the purpose of doing it. So you can do it either way, whichever way. I'm curious to know, which way do you guys think you would do? Would you draw a neat line or would you just lay down some water and tear it out like me? I'm curious. I should have set up a poll, huh? And I am so behind schedule. We haven't even really started the piece yet. I probably could have had one of these already cut out. And I always struggle within myself of how much prepping I'm going to do because I don't want to do so much prep that you guys lose like the instruction, right? Because everything is done before I get here. But I do want to be prepared enough so that we can actually finish the project in a decent amount of time. And we will still be live tonight, you guys. So David and I will be live for Chatting and Crafting at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. So if you guys want to join us there, we read comments when we're here Sunday evening. We do a lot of chit-chatting. I am usually doing a project and I'm teaching, but it's just a lot more laid back and chattier. So If you enjoy community, please come and hang out with us. And we don't just talk about crafts. I never know what my husband's gonna talk about, just to be honest with y'all. I legitimately don't know. I just know every day I tell him, babe, you have to behave. And then he says, mm-hmm. And then I don't know. And we do have the grandbaby tonight. So we will probably be at an hour because he has school tomorrow. So we'll probably be an hour, not our normal hour and a half. I have no idea what I'm going to do tonight. I have a silver tray pulled out, so we may do that. And I'm just pulling away as much paper as possible. And I'm cutting this super close to my flower. And when I talk about like decoupaging medallions, this is what I'm talking about. And the reason why I wanted to do this project, because earlier this week, somebody asked if when you, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm not gonna even trim that part. I'm gonna leave that just like that. If you just decoupage on a portion, like not over the whole space, if it leaves a line. And so I want to be clear because I never want to misrepresent the product. There's going to be a delineation of where the paper ends and your surface starts because this is paper, right? But it is tissue paper. So it's really, really thin. It's not going to be like, as obvious as, say, a piece of printer paper would be. And there are things that you can do to negate that if it's important to you. Um, it's not something I'm going to do today because we don't have time. But like you could take some gel medium and you could take a spatula or something like this, and you could float, like once you get it all decoupaged on there, and then you could float that gel medium over your edges. You know what I mean? Like spackle it basically and let that dry. And then you wouldn't be able to see the edge of your paper at all once you started painting. It would literally disappear. So I'm not going to do all that today because we don't have time. And it's not a priority for me to have those edges completely disappear because we are working on like a mixed media piece, right? So we're going to see all of the yummy textures. I am going to be using my matte medium to decoupage with today. Although if we were talking to somebody from like the classical art round, they would probably call this collage, but we call it decoupage over here. So that's what I'm going to do is collage this or decoupage it on there. I've misted my paper and I'm just going to like kind of stretch it out to get rid of any wrinkles. And I'm going to go right over this with the matte medium. And you guys will notice that my ink isn't moving at all. And that is because I took my time and really heated up my board to get that ink to set. And I am wanting to really have this be pretty transparent. So I'm going to go over this, right over this with my medium. And I'm going to show you guys something else too. When you are putting medallions onto your piece, the edges are not the only thing that makes it obvious that you've added something. The sheen of your project can also make it obvious. So whenever I am decoupaging a medallion like this or collaging a piece like this, when I'm done with this, I am going to go over the entire piece with my clear, with my matte medium, which is what I'm using today. And what that's going to do is it's going to maintain the same sheen across the whole piece. Sometimes you can tell when something's been decoupaged on there because you see that there's a different sheen around the area that you've collaged or decoupaged onto your piece. And that makes it stand out even more. So even though I'm not doing anything else on these other pieces, I am going to put the matte medium over everything so that I have the same sheen all across my piece. And you know what? I think I'll float out one little part. I won't do the whole thing because I don't wait for all that to dry, but I'll float out just an area so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I thought I had some, oh, I do. So this is some heavy body gel. It is transparent. That's really important. And I'm only going to do this bottom portion because I don't want to paint over everything either. So I'm going to take my heavy body gel and that's too much. I'm going to like, can you guys see that? Okay, you can see that on both of us. And I'm going to basically spackle my edges. I'm going to do the whole damn thing. You guys know I am. Dang it. I can't even help myself. And I'm going to spackle over the edges of that flower. And I'm using the word spackle because I feel like you guys have been in dorm rooms where you had a hole in the wall and you had to fix it before the dorm monitor got there or before you turned in the keys or to your apartment. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I'm floating that right over the edges, and that's going to hide that transition from the paper to my board. And again, I don't have to do this, but if seeing the edges bothers you, this is something that you can do. And then I'm going to, same thing, I'm not going to only do that in that one area because then it's obvious. I'm going to take this texture, and this texture is actually nice too. And I'm going to just spackle a little bit all over everything. And it doesn't have to be like completely uniform, but I don't want it to be just around the edges because then like that makes it more obvious to me if it's only there. And you want it thick enough, but not too thick. So it may take some practice. Like everything else though, right? Okay. So now I have to dry this. I cause problems for myself. I don't know if I'm going to use anything from the photography master board. I don't think I have room for anything. We'll see. I will look and see. And you guys see how I basically covered up that piece of tape. It's still there though. You can see it peeking through, but it's not going to be a major component. So when you start laying down your layers and you cover something up, like it's okay. Unless it's something that you really, really love and you want to keep it. That happens to me sometimes too. So I'll either figure out how to keep it or I'll replicate it somewhere else on my piece or try to replicate it. In the program that I'm in right now, they really encourage us to do like these organic always comes to my word first, and that's not the right word that I'm looking for. I hate that. My brain is like rewiring itself incorrectly. They abstract to do like an abstract background and then you paint from there. And so sometimes you end up with these marks that are beautiful, but you don't know how you did it because you were just playing around. And so trying to maintain those sometimes can be a little bit stressful. For those of you who've been watching me, I have a Royce Hunt art page on Instagram. And on my personal Royce Hunt page, I posted some of my art. Honestly, Instagram did that. I was not going to even show anything on Facebook, but Instagram automatically posts to my Royce Hunt page. But I've been on my art journey. It started about 2 years ago, but really since April of last year, I've really been serious in taking this course. And so that's the growth that you guys are seeing in my artwork is just from that. It's from the class I'm taking and just trying to carve out time to really practice on a regular basis. And what I've learned, you guys, is that art is a skill like any other skill. And if you learn how to do it, you can absolutely learn how to do it. Are there people who are naturally talented? Yes, of course. There are people who are naturally talented at everything, right? But it doesn't mean that it's something that you cannot attain if it's something that you desire. You absolutely can. You just have to learn the stuff. That's it. So if you're interested in learning about the program that I'm taking, let me know, and we can chat and see if it's for you and see what options they have available for you. But I am an affiliate for the program, just being completely transparent. But those of you who know me, you know that I do not like, I'm not going to be an affiliate for something that I don't believe in. I have products right now that are in my studio, and it's not that I don't believe in them, but I haven't had time to work with them and see if I like them yet. So I'm not just going to pop up and suggest some random supplies or programs to you guys because I'm being um, paid to do so. Like, it's going to be something that I really do believe in. Just say it. This is going to take forever. I'm going to start painting, and we're going to have to go to these edges last because we don't have all day. It's already 12:53. And I haven't even done all the stuff I wanted to do yet. So we're going to be long today. I apologize. If you have to pop out, you guys, the replay will be available here and on YouTube. And I'll be sure and post a picture. I've been posting the pictures in the community tab on YouTube, so you guys can go over there and take a look. And then I try to remember to post them here on Facebook too. I think I missed one of the boards, so I have to look and see which one I missed and get it posted today. I think it's the one we did yesterday. And that is almost dry. I am going to go over this with my matte medium, just because I know my paint's going to sit better on that matte surface than it will on the shiny, because the medium is gloss. And so I know my paint is going to beat up on that gloss. So when you're using the paintable florals, you can just use a matte medium, or a clear gesso is actually like optimum. If you're going to use watercolor and you want like the optimum experience, then you can use a watercolor ground, and it looks a lot like this. You paint it right over the top. It just has little cotton fibers in it, so you're essentially turning your paper into watercolor paper. But you can just use clear gesso too. Although today I'm not even doing that. I'm just using matte medium. And because it's matte, it has like, little stuff in it. So I know it'll be fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. Even when it's not fine, it's fine. When I am like creating projects or products like paper and stencils, I'm always thinking about how I can make the thought of creating art more like accessible for you. Because I think you guys already have the capacity to do it. It really is just you knowing that you have the capacity to do it. So I'm on a mission to get you guys to do it. That is my goal. So just know that when I'm coming out with a new product, that's what I want for you, because you guys have the capacity. I see the stuff you guys are creating. It's fabulous. I have a watercolor palette here that I'm using. I feel bad because I bought this from Lexi Grinzer, who was an incredible artist, by the way, about 2 years ago. And the last time I looked, she did not have it on her website anymore. But Meeden, Meeden, they're on Amazon, if that's where you prefer to order. Has a similar watercolor palette. Like, it looks almost identical to this one. And you get like a ton of colors. And one of the reasons why I love using watercolor or even buying a palette, because look, you get all these colors, right? Like one shot, and you don't have to worry about having different colors. And this is going to last me for forever. This palette is. And so you want to experiment with the paintable Roycycled papers. This is a good way to do it. Although if you're someone like me and you have like 11 cans of paint, that works too. You don't have to go out and buy watercolors. They're just simple, and you get a lot of different colors. I think I'm going to stay with this family right here, but maybe a little bit brighter. So now I'm kind of in my mid-ground. And so I'm picking colors that are brighter than the colors that were back here, but that are still um, the same tones, right? It's kind of the same, but it's just, it's brighter. It's more saturated. And you guys see how haphazard I'm being? I'm not even being careful. And because the color is transparent and all the shading is already done, it's super easy. Look at that. You just pick a color. Now you see me keep wiping. I'm trying to leave my tips white because those are my highlights. So, and not all of them, just some of them, I want to leave them light because that's going to add to my overall project. Now I do try to like paint in the direction of the petals. I do feel like that makes a difference. I need some water to dip my brush in. And the thing about transparent painting is it's so nice because you can build a color. So I can just keep going over this if I want it to be darker. So you may not get what you want in the first like pass, but you can certainly get it, in the second and third passes. And I like to play around with my colors a little bit and have some variation. So I just picked up a little bit of red with this last one. The more water you use, right, the lighter it's going to be. And if you get some outside the flower, like don't worry about it because you can just go in later and you can cut in some white and just take care of that. And for the sake of time, like this is all that I'm going to do for this flower. I'm probably going to go in. Like to me, the shadows are taken care of with these. But your highlights, if you paint over them, you're kind of like minimizing the impact of them. So I do like to go in, and I have white on my watercolor palette here. So I do like to go in and pick up my highlights. Because it does, to me, the highlights make a difference. And you don't have to do all of them, just some of them. And you guys will see when you add them, it's like magic. It's still wet. I'm going to have to come back. So I'm going to go to my leaves and I'm going to leave these alone before I cause problems for myself. Oh, man. Look, I just broke this is what happens when you soak your brushes in the jar too long. And if you are watching and you're a Roycycled retailer, please put know how to find you. And look at all these greens I have here for this leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the lighter color. And to make sure that this green works with that orange, I'm going to mix it I'm going to mix that orange into this green. And then that way I know that the colors are going to jive together. So that's just a little secret. If you're using different colors, one of the ways that you can make sure they go together is to mix a little bit of the other color with it. Now, it will make it a little more neutral when you do that. It's going to neutralize it. So you may want to add just a little bit, because you don't have to add like equal parts. You just have to add a little bit and it will work. I do want to make this as simple as possible. And I'm picking up more green and a different green because I don't want all my leaves to be exactly the same color. But I'm still mixing a little bit of that orange. I think I may have painted a water petal green. I mean a flower petal green. Whoops. My bad. Super quick. And how special would this be for a gift if you gave it to somebody, right? And you guys can see how, because it's transparent, the shadows are still there. And look how beautiful that is. And you can add whatever color you want. And I'm using transparent colors, but you can also use this as a guide. And you could, use opaque colors if you want. It's just the transparent colors are easier, I think. And so that's why I like them a lot. And I'm wanting to pull a little bit of this pink. I don't know. I like mixing my colors up so that it's not like just one color. Because you guys know how when you look at flowers, you usually find like, different versions of the color in different parts of the flower, right? And then this middle, let me bring this all the way up and then I'll come back in with white. And one thing that I'm doing too is this part of the flower that's the closest to me, like, this is a 2D rendering of a flower, but if it was in a three-dimensional space, this side would be closest to me. So I'm making this the side that's closest to me, like the brightest. And then this part in the back, that's, the furthest from me, I'm leaving that kind of light. And let's go through and I'm going to make this inside here red, but I'm going to mix it with that orange, right? And a little bit of that green too, so that everything goes together and it doesn't feel like, how do you say, I want it to feel cohesive. This is not a good brush for this. Let's try this one. If you guys haven't tried the paintable papers, you really should. It's one of those things that when you sit down, it makes you slow down and it makes you relax. And you can just breathe and paint. And like one of the things that I've been doing lately is checking in with my body periodically throughout the day, because I'm one of those people who I will have my shoulders up by my ears like all day, you guys. It is so ridiculous. I don't know what I'm bracing for. And I don't know why I'm like that. So I've been just checking in with my body periodically throughout the day to see like where my shoulders are, and just deep breath in, deep breath out. And when I paint these, like if I'm off camera and it's just me painting, I'm really kind of focusing on my breath and slowing down and just enjoying the process. And so I have my red dots there, and I don't think I'm going to use this one, right? Like I don't feel like I have a space that needs anything else, and so I'm not going to use anything else. I'm going to go over this with my dryer really quickly, and I do want to go in. I think that's all painted. I don't want to leave the background white, and I'm probably going to come in here later and put on some more layers. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think everything is drying really well. There is, I want to use, I'm going to go ahead and close this for now. And I want to use a piece of a transfer on this. And then I want to color the background. And then I think I'm going to basically be done, but you guys know, maybe. And again, if you're just popping on, I am doing a mixed media piece on a clipboard. Your art is not relegated to just canvases or just, your art journals. You can put them on any surface, any surface. And I have an acrylic guide. Is it on my page? If you guys go to Roycycled.com, first of all, if you're looking for Roycycled decoupage paper, you can go to Roycycled.com. You can find the paper there, and you can also find the retailers who carry the paper. We have a map, so you can put your location and you can find the closest retailer. Even if you don't have a retailer in your area, you may have someone closer to you than I am who can offer you better shipping. So you can reach out to them, because we do have some online only retailers. But on Roycycled, on Roycycled.com, at the top, you'll see a tab for resources. And if you guys click on there, you guys can see that there are multiple resources that are available. And I believe my guide to acrylic mediums is on there. And in there, I talk about different things that you can use depending on what products you're using. So a watercolor ground is kind of like a gel medium, except for it has, I think it has like cotton particles in there, so that the paper sits, so that your water paints sit on it just like it would a really nice watercolor paper. Or there's a pastel ground that you can use if you're using pastels or charcoal. There is, your gesso. You have white gesso, but you also have clear gesso, and a clear gesso can set your project up so that your paint lays down beautifully. So if you're curious about those kind of products, you can go to Roycycled.com under resources, and I believe that that is one of the guides that are there. There are like 5 or 7 guides on there for you guys to help you along in your creative journey. So the next thing I want to do before I add any more shapes is I want to put a transfer. So it's just a matter of figuring out what piece I want to use. Da-da-da, da-da. I don't know why that song just came in my head right now, but it did. Oh, I want you guys. This is like a pink, and that's too orange, so that one's not going to work. This piece is nice, which is actually the same as this one. So And I am not mentioning brands of anything that I'm using because I want my retailers to be able to share this video freely. But if you have a question about anything that I've used, just ask me and I'll let you know. And I know that I asked retailers to put their links on here. Thank you guys so much. So customers can find you and get the recycled decoupage paper. And the thing about going to a retailer too is they're going to have other stuff. They have paint, they have transfers, they have like all the things. Excuse me. I know I'm getting a tickle in my throat. And I think I want, as you guys know my theory, if I do it on something on one side, I have to do it on the other. So I'm going to get another little piece to attach in a different spot. Excuse me, I am so sorry. I feel like I need that yellow flower. But that pink rose is causing me strife. Maybe we can glaze her and make her feel more orange. What do you guys think? I vote yes, because I need that. I need this cluster right here. And that rose isn't really jiving with the rest of our colors, but I think, well, maybe that's too much though. Let's put on what we have and then we'll go from there. I know that's supposed to be on the bottom, but I think I'm going to just do it like that. I'm breaking the rules, y'all. Does that feel right? And you can layer transfers over your decoupage paper, absolutely. You just want to make sure that everything is absolutely dry first. If you start laying on a transfer and it's like lifting your paint or your decoupage paper, there's likely still moisture underneath there. And what you can do is just leave it. Just walk away and leave it on there. Let everything dry, and then you can come back and finish applying your transfer later. If you keep trying to pull it up, you're just going to ruin your project. And then sometimes I see people just pushing harder with their, with your brayer. I mean, and that can work, but you can also score your work too, especially if you have lots of layers and you have like little scratch marks where you've tried to scratch harder and harder and harder. So I do have some moisture under here. I know I do. So I'm just being super careful when I'm lifting this up. And not even that I'm over paper, but sometimes if it's not dry, it can actually lift up your paint too. And we don't want that. And you guys notice how I just pull up a little bit, testing it. If a piece is not adhered, I'm able to put it right back down. If I try to pull up the whole thing, then I'm going to be left trying to realign everything, and that's just no bueno. So I just lift a little bit at a time, double check, make sure everything is laid down. That way, if it isn't, I can still be able to lay that down. Make sure I'm not out of the camera here. If you are someone, maybe you have a booth or you have a shop or you have an online store and you're already carrying paints and, transfers, all the things, and you have a creative business, maybe you would like to be a Roycycled retailer. We're always looking for good business partners. Roycycled does offer territory protection. So like if you're in an antique mall, you'll never have to worry about somebody in the same shop carrying their product. We have a base of 20 miles, but like in really densely populated areas, we do make some exceptions sometimes. It just depends. But that's like our base protection is 20 miles. We do offer continued education. So whenever you guys see me having courses like decoupage or stencil courses, those are actually free to Roycycled retailers. And when you become a retailer, you have all those classes available to you on your dashboard. That way you can teach your customers how to use the product. We have a pretty in for Roycycled decoupage paper, and we offer quarterly business classes. So if you are looking for another product to carry, maybe Roycycled would be a good fit for you. Do I need this piece? I feel like I need something over here, but maybe not that much. I don't want to waste a whole bunch though. So I'm going to cut it like right here. Because I don't think I need a bunch. I just need a little bit. Just a little whisper over here. And then we have one more step. Oops. After this one. And then she'll be done. I do want to, you guys will see me always like rub my transfers. It really is just to make sure that there's good adhesion to the surface before I go over with any other products. I want to make sure that everything is really stuck down really good. And I'm going to go over with some matte medium. We've done a lot of different things. I want to unify my surface. So I'm going to go over with my matte medium again. Everything is the same sheen. And then even like physically, when I go in with my next layer of products, that it lays down the same regardless of where I'm applying it. And again, I'm not watching comments, but if you guys have questions, you can leave them there. And I will try to answer them. If you're on YouTube and you have a dying question, ooh, my watercolor is moving. Maybe it wasn't as dry as I thought it was. We are just going to go with it because I'm going to be coloring my background anyways. Excuse me. And that's just going to help my background go. I mean, we're coloring the background, but it's kind of going to be bright. So I'm going to dry this super quickly. And I feel like the transfer is in my foreground, right? This is the midground, and then all that stuff is in the background. And not even just because of that's how it's positioned, but because of the neutrality of these colors. This is a little more bright, and this is super saturated and really bright. And it's physically in the front, but it also is sitting in the front because it's a lot brighter. And you guys, stuff like this is so fun. It is so fun. And you learn things about your products. You learn things about your creative process. And honestly, you learn some stuff about yourself too. Like, oh, I like that combination of colors, or oh, I really don't like that combination of colors. Some things I learn about things I'm gonna do again. Sometimes I learn stuff I will never do again, right? It just depends. I am running out of gas, but I haven't taken any of my little protein tea here. I come on at noon my time, and I spend a good portion of the morning getting ready to come on. And so seldom have I eaten by the time I get here, which I know is not good, but so sometimes I can feel my blood sugar dropping a little bit. That's not all the way dry, but it is dry enough. And I hope the color that I want is in here. I didn't even double check for that. And it is This is one of my, oh, it's turquoise. No wonder it's my favorite. That's literally my favorite color. So I'm going to take this turquoise. It's a water soluble crayon. And I'm going to go in and add this. And the cool thing about this, it's going to add color, but I'm still going to be able to see through it to see what's behind it. And when you work on a project like this, just because I've stepped away from messing with the flower doesn't mean that I am done. I can always go back and forth. So if I want, I can go back and paint that some more. You know, I could make my flowers darker if I wanted to. I could do whatever. There are no rules. This is you working on your project. And so you can go back and forth as you want, whether that's to make something a deeper color or to add a highlight. Like I want to add some highlights to my flower. And I'm just using this brush to kind of push this color around. And I love this because I can layer it. Like I'm going to let this layer dry. And then I'm going to come back in a few minutes. I'm going to put down another layer. And it's going to get darker and darker and darker. And what I can do is have some areas be darker. And some areas don't have to be darker. Some areas I can just leave with the lighter turquoise. And of course, if you have a paint, you can paint this. You don't have to use the pencil. This is just, I love this color turquoise of this pencil, so I love using it. And I want to challenge you guys to look at your supplies because all of us do this. We see something online, we go out, we buy the products, and we have them. So a project like this would enable you to be able to use those products. So pull out whatever it is that you've purchased because you wanted to play with them. Pull them out and play with them. Do it. And I'm just wetting my brush and then using that water to push this color around. And if I wanted to add something to the background, I could. I could still add, I could still paint over and take something away if I wanted to. What time is it? It's 1:25. I'm going to work for 5 more minutes, you guys, and then I'll hop off. And we're going to have to call it complete because I could meddle with this forever. Seriously. Adding, taking away. I could get lost in a project like this so easily. I have my laptop here when I'm live with you guys, and I go in the house to work on it for other stuff, and there's like paint on there, all kinds of stuff. And even though I'm laying this turquoise down, I can still see the ledger behind it, right? Because it's not opaque, so I can still see what's going on in the back. It's just another layer, and I can keep adding layers. And there are areas where I overpainted my flowers, and if I wanted, I could go in with just white paint and clean those areas up, and then I could have gone over with the turquoise. And I am going to finish with you guys today doing one more thing. And I would literally continue working on this project if I were just because I never know how to stop. But I'm going to do one more thing. And then because we're doing this together and I said it was start to finish, I can't do any more on it after we part ways. So it's going to be done. Or if we have time, maybe I'm not going to have time because I got to finish up all those. Maybe we'll circle back one day. So I'm just taking my fan brush and I've watered down some opaque white paint. So white paint that I can't see through. And I'm just going to put some little splatters over the top of this. And then we're going to call it done. Actually, I'm going to do one more thing, and then we're going to call it done. What time is it? Oh, I have 2 more minutes. And you guys know I have to do it. Oh, wait. I forgot to sand off the edge of this decoupage paper. So I wanted to do this project to show you that you don't have to like decoupage over the entire surface of a project. You can just, add elements. I know I'm breaking the rules and I'm causing problems for myself too because I'm trying to hurry up. You absolutely can just decoupage a portion of your project. I'm not going to misrepresent the project and say that the edges are going to absolutely disappear because they don't. You can still see them there, but there are times when it doesn't matter. Or you can float out your edges like we did here today. And if I were to go in with white paint and paint the background, you would absolutely not be able to tell where the paper began and where it ended at all. So that is an option for you. And I just always have to go around my edges, y'all. It's a thing. I just can't even help myself. But I do think it makes everything better. And this is just a regular ink dauber. We had so much ink out the other day for the other project, for the dress form one. So I've just covered it with this lid and it's just here on my mat waiting for me to use it. So this is a combination of a black and a, turmeric color. So a black and like an ochre yellow color. So it's a warm black. It's not completely black. And I'm just going to add that around the edges. Take my little brush and feather it out a wee bit. And I'm going to call that done. So this is our mixed media project for today, you guys. And just to recap what we did today, we started out with just a vintage clipboard that I primed it. I always like to prime these clipboards because you just never know what's going to bleed through. And then I did a color of white chalk style paint. I did that before we came on together. I used the Roycycled Farm Ledger stencil to add the topography to the background. I did have a stencil that I made specifically for the Roycycled Besties Retreat last year, and I used that to add some marks to this for my background. And then we applied a piece of the Roycycled paintable floral decoupage paper, which I use water to create like an organic edge around the edge of the flower. And we painted that with just some water paint. I painted the background with a little bit of my water-based crayon and smeared it around. And we added a piece of transfer. I forgot that part right here too. So, we all have like products, right? We have plenty of products. You guys break them out. And when you have like pieces of decoupage paper or pieces of transfer or, bits of stuff that are left over. Projects like this are super fun to work with. And if you have an idea for a larger piece or a piece of furniture and you kind of want to try it out, I love trying it out with projects like this, right? Because it's not just a sample board that's going to end up in your shop in a corner somewhere. It's a beautiful finish and it's on something that's functional. So, although this is something that I would normally do, say, in my art journal, I could absolutely do it on a surface. And now I have this usable piece of art. I can hang this up in my office or, my home office space. It's beautiful and it's also completely usable. I'm probably going to go over it with like 2 more coats of varnish and let that cure before I start using it, like heavily using it. But this is completely functional and it's a piece of art. So that is all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you're looking for the Roycycled decoupage paper, you can find it at roycycled.com. You can also find a retailer near you who carries the Roycycled decoupage paper and the stencils. I will be here tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. David and I will be here for chatting and crafting with Royce and David. We hang out, we chit chat, we craft. It's a good time. It's kind of like a little party. And then I will be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And what we're going to do is we're going to tidy up all these products that we've done in the last like 9 days. So we're going to trim. We're going to go back and add things. And then you guys can bring any questions that you have. And I'll actually be monitoring the comments tomorrow morning and I'll answer questions. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you so much. So much of what I do with you guys, I'm experimenting, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? Where experimentation goes, creativity follows. So I encourage you to play with the products that you have, see what they can do, push yourself outside of your comfort zone. See what you can do. I bet you it's more than you ever imagined. And even if you don't get your intended outcome, you're still learning and it still has value. So thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys tonight, Lord willing. Bye.